Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, aka Rickshaw, and this is Worship and Tribute Nerd. Today, we're going to be talking about Midsummer. Do you say it Midsummer?
Midsummer, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I. Midsummer. That's how I've been
It's
saying
not.
it.
It's not
Midsummer?
summer.
Right.
It's they're
Okay.
Swedish.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about Midsummer.
Midsummer.
So Scary Movie Club. That's
Scary
what it
Movie
is.
Club, we'll go
Scary
with that.
Movie Club. Anyways, this isn't really. I mean, it is a scary movie. It is a horror
It's
movie.
not a horror movie.
But it's a scary. But it's a scary movie. It's
Yeah,
a scary
yeah, yeah.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Scary
Okay.
movie.
Well, yeah, we'll talk.
It's like hard to
I'll
classify.
talk about
It's pretty interesting. I was
it. Okay.
I was
I'll say
pretty
this.
mortified by it.
It's
so.
not a horror movie, especially in the sense of like jump scare, like scare you, or slasher. You know, most of the deaths happened off screen. It's not a horror movie, but there are horror elements to the movie, and I feel like that's his style. Like,
Yeah. I also feel like this was it was similar to Hereditary,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
to where it took its themes and kind
Mm-hmm.
of ran with it. So.
yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is spoilers. We're always going to talk about spoilers, just saying. So so Rabbit, go ahead and tell me, just as a whole, how did you feel about it?
Okay. Well, number one, I love the movie.
Okay.
I left the movie more unsettled than I did watching Hereditary, because Hereditary, like the third act, it blows up, and then you have like
Yeah.
almost like a real like definitive ending. But this one was just like, for the entire length of the movie, almost from start to finish, it just leaves you like on edge, or like waiting
it's
for
a
like
sl-
what's gonna
it's a
happen, what's gonna
slow
happen.
burn.
Yeah, it's like it is a slow burn.
So bad.
And like a lot of people didn't like it, and I think it's for that reason.
Right.
But well, there's
Well, it's
other
shocking
reasons
also.
too, but- and I think they wanted it to be like Hereditary 2,
Right.
and it's not.
Right.
It's like,
It's a new
you know,
I mean,
it's a completely different movie.
It seems to be, I don't know. It's interesting whenever somebody makes a certain style of horror movie and then they want to try something new and everybody's weird about it. It's like, well, when you're making movies, you want to do everything different. Like as an artist, you want to like every time be original, every time take it to a new place, every time it's like that's what you're doing. So
But what's weird though is like he didn't even really like. It's not even really that terribly different than Hereditary. There's a lot of the
Right.
same stuff that he did in Hereditary in this. Granted, it's a lot more of a slow burn, and there's not as much like scares throughout. I don't know. Like
No, yeah, for
Hereditary,
sure.
it's like you were saying in that third act, it like, whoa, and it
Yeah.
just takes
It
off.
just blows up
And then
Yeah.
this one just kind of stays that steady pace.
till the very end.
It's just like there's shocking moments kind of peppered in throughout the movie.
it was pretty shocking.
It's
though.
a
I mean,
it's a companion piece to Hereditary, and I feel like it's his style of directing.
Yeah.
Like-
right.
You know, anybody that has a very unique style, like a Martin Scorsese or a Tarantino or a Kubrick, like, or a Nolan, like their movies are going to have very similar elements to them. Like you can kind of connect the dots between each movie, but they're not going to be the same movie every time.
Right.
He's not going to just redo what he did last time.
Did you like it, Mikey?
I fucking loved it. It was amazing. I'm a horror movie nerd all the way through, and I thought this was great. I liked, the kind of family drama theme that was in it with Danny, and then the kind of weird religious aspect, which again are things that were all over Hereditary, and then just with some shocking gut punches, like when that old lady's face bounces off that rock.
Yeah.
I just knew. The thing is, like,
Shit.
once you got so deep into the movie, you're like, what's gonna like something shocking is gonna happen, and it's just gonna kick me in the fucking dick.
Well, I feel
But-
like it almost kind of started off that way. Like Hereditary didn't really have its like real shocking moment until it cut back to Charlie's head in the street.
Yeah, Charlie dying was like.
I mean,
but
that
in
whole
this
scene
one-
was pretty shocking.
Well,
like,
yeah, but
honestly.
like I'll be honest, when I first watched it, I was like, did she even? Because it doesn't really let you know. I mean, like you kind of assume that she's dead,
right,
but you're honestly not real sure until you hear her mother lose her shit
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
down on
Right.
in front of
she
the
goes
house
out to the car
and just
the next morning.
screams.
Yeah. And
yeah,
like,
and he's just like,
and people are talking about like all the off-screen deaths, like of the
Yeah.
main characters. I'm like,
right.
but yeah, Charlie basically died off-screen
Yeah.
in Hereditary, and it was still awesome.
Well, in Hereditary, they all kind of died off screen. You didn't really, except
dad-
for
the dad lit
The
on
dad is the
fire.
only one that you really see, because
Well,
with the mom, yeah, you see her
you
cut
hear
her
it.
head off.
You hear it before you see it.
Yeah, and then you hear
That was
her head
scarier.
plop, and then you see the shadow of her body floating away, but you don't actually see her head come off.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
It was so awesome.
That's like the main thing that you could say about this dude's movies is like, it's pretty shocking.
After
like,
honestly, the first question I had, I think I actually asked this pretty early on in the movie, but it was after when they cut to Danny's family and how they died, and just all the like when the scene, like seeing her parents was bad enough, but the scene of her sister with the hose like so crazily duct taped to her face, I was like, all right, this movie's gonna be fucked up. And then I asked the question, I leaned over to my wife and I was like, the fuck is wrong with Ari Aster?
Who hurt you, Ari? Sorry, do you need? I'll give you a hug, bro. Like,
who hurt you, man? What is? Do you need a hug, buddy?
Also, I think he has a thing with nudity and like the uncomfortableness of
Old
nudity.
old people being nude,
taboo of it.
which
Right.
brings me to another point that I wanted to make on this. When me and my wife were watching it, a family came in with a son and a daughter. The son couldn't have been older than 8, 9.
Oh my god.
And then the daughter,
don't
the
do
daughter
that.
might have
Just
been like
don't
at
do
the
that.
oldest, like 14.
I mean,
And the first death scene, I was like, okay. As a kid, I watched a lot of really fucked up horror movies.
I did too, actually.
But then
and I
think
couldn't
it
sleep
was
at night because I would be like, well, now I'm scared, so it's cool.
But I think it was the sex scene. And when I was like, I leaned over again and I was like, I feel real sorry for those kids right now, because like that's always the most awkward when you're sitting with your parents and a sex scene happens. You're like, you get real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was wondering. I was like, did they have any fucking idea what they were coming into? Because the trailers don't really, just like Hereditary,
Yeah.
didn't give pretty much any of the movie.
But
honestly.
it has like a rated R rating, and if your kid
That's
is
true.
like 11 or you know, like,
Yeah, like-
don't take your kid to see that fucking movie. Like,
I mean, that's,
Right.
I guess whatever. I guess
Common
we were just like, those kids are fucked.
yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. Like I said, but the thing is, I never really watched a lot of fucked up shit when I was a kid in the theater because I couldn't.
Right,
you
yeah.
know, but like later on, watching it on VHS or
Yep.
something, you know,
Or on TV where half of the shit's edited out
Right.
anyway.
and then you see the real version and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
that was way.
Yeah, pretty much. I
scarier.
saw like a lot of my like childhood favorites, like Hellraiser and Phantasm, and or like even to step away from like horror movies like RoboCop and shit like that. I watched all of those when I was like, real young, and all the nightmare movies, Aliens.
now, but now it's like you don't even like kids are watching everything.
Yeah,
All
So
right. I want
there's
to.
no-
Sorry, I don't. I want
Go
to get
ahead.
back. I want to get into some really cool shit that
Oh,
I
okay. Go ahead.
noticed about this movie.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that I really like about Ari.
Okay. Go
and
ahead.
what he's doing. Okay. So he admitted like the first movie he made, Hereditary, was he took a lot of influence from a lot of different movies, like Rosemary's Baby, like stuff like that. So in this movie, I was like really trying to pay attention to what he was gonna like pull from. There's some really cool shit in there, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When they had his face, like
Oh, yeah,
his
yeah,
face
yeah.
on his,
Right.
he's wearing it as a mask. That one was
I
really
didn't
cool.
even put that together, but yeah, you're right. That whole scene is
The Wicker Man is like pretty obvious. Like
yeah.
they're going to a new surrounding. Like there's some like, but my favorite
Wicker Man.
one that I noticed almost right away is the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
There's a lot of Wizard of Oz influence in this movie. Okay, so when they're going to the place, well, first of all, they get there to
Right.
in Sweden or Norway. Where are they at?
It's Sweden.
Sweden. Okay, so they get there, and what's the first thing they do? They trip on mushrooms, right?
Right.
So in The Wizard of Oz, when they first get to like Oz, kind of, they trip in the poppy field. Like they fall asleep, but they're like high.
Right.
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 Okay, so that's the first one, and then I was like, okay. So I was
Wasn't
watching
there a yellow brick? Road
there was
or something?
flowers, the yellow flowers
Oh,
as
okay,
they're
yeah,
walking
right.
to it,
Yellow
right?
flowers.
And they're following this path of yellow flowers, and then it opens up, kind of like when it goes from like monochrome to color
Right.
in The Wizard of Oz. It like opens up into this new land,
Yeah.
and new people, and it's completely different, right?
And it's like we're all happy, yay!
Yeah. And then, I mean, this isn't the entire movie, but it's like more so in the first act. It's like, then all her friends, it's like, Danny's obviously Dorothy, right? She's like in this new place, discovering herself. But then her friends, so there's three of them. There's her boyfriend, who is the prince, but he's kind of cold towards Danny, so he doesn't have a heart, you could say. And that would be the Tin Man.
All right.
Then there's the fool, his best friend, who like jokes around. He doesn't really have a brain, you could say. And then the other guy who is like trying to write his thesis on this whole community. When the boyfriend is like, I'm gonna do my thesis on this community. He can't like stand up for himself, so he doesn't have courage like the Cowardly Lion.
Interesting.
So-
It's Chidi from The Good Place. Have you ever seen The
I've
Good
never
Place?
watched that show. But anyways, that's
Come on,
kind of
guys.
the coolest thing.
The Good Place is one of the best shows I've seen. Watch The Good Place.
Anyway, we're talking
Watch
about
The
Midsummer.
Good-
Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Talking about
You can do a
Midsommar.
video on the good plays if you want.
You just do that one by
yeah,
yourself.
I noticed that and started like trying to put the
Right.
things together. But after
is
that, it just like
interesting.
goes off into
Yeah,
It's
its own
shocking.
thing.
that Texas Chainsaw scene. Like now that I'm thinking back to it, I'm like, it is exactly like it's like when they first introduce Leatherface in the Texas, when he bashes the dude in the head, and you just hear the thud, and he
Yep.
just hits the ground and twitches.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to that dude in the movie.
Interesting.
Also, I think that little Oracle dude, the guy with the fucked up face, I think he was fucking him. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that was implied.
I don't know. I think you're creeping me out right now. Though.
Okay, well, let's go through it. He's in that the library or whatever you want to call it, where they keep all their books and stuff. And he gets hit over the head, cracked the skull. He falls to the ground, and then you hear this like noises, and you think it's like him, like maybe his like last breaths or something. But they show him his face, and he's not doing anything.
You mean like the?
And then he's like, but his body is like doing this, and you hear the like I got from it that he was being raped.
Well,
maybe
shit,
just thought it
man.
was his
maybe
body
I just have a
twitching.
fucked up brain. I don't know.
Who hurt you?
Oh well, Rabbit. It seems like Rabbit actually analyzed the movie
I-
pretty heavily, and I was shocked, and my jaw was just open the whole time, and I had to focus on keeping water in my mouth, because I was just like, the whole movie. I don't know, like I liked it, but I'm probably not gonna watch it again
Oh, I'm
for a
gonna
long
absolutely
time.
I have to
again.
watch it again.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in this movie. Like, it's also a fairy tale.
Right.
Like, it's a dark, like really fucked up, like Disney movie, basically. If you
Right.
think about it.
Yeah. Because she found herself, and at the end she was like
Like
happy
she
about
literally
it.
becomes the queen. She's like
Right.
or princess, whatever. She's a Disney princess.
right of this evil ass.
And her
ritual.
boyfriend transforms into a beast. He turns into a bear. Like, yeah, there's all kinds of shit going on in this movie, and like I'm obsessed with it. Like,
Well, shit, Rabbit.
sorry.
This is Rabbit's
Yeah.
episode, man. MVP.
All right, I'll let y'all.
MVP.
Sorry. No, I mean, I just like. Yeah.
I mean, I mostly said all of what I wanted to say about it. It was shocking, and I'm still shocked. And I don't know if I want to watch it again for a while.
No, as soon as I watch it again, the first chance I get.
I'm gonna watch it again. I felt more unsettled by this movie than I did with Hereditary.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of shots.
I
In the
felt
movie,
high when I left too. Like when, like you know how
Like
all
an
of
adrenaline high
you know
kind of
how all
thing?
the stuff.
Well, and I
with
think that's-
breathing and
Oh,
stuff.
That's what I was
in the
gonna
yeah,
say.
that was
I
another-
feel like a lot of stuff was intentionally shot and done so you can kind of put yourself in their shoes
Right.
and feel how they feel.
Well, they
a
were
lot of the time.
tripping.
Yeah.
Like most of
Like
the
the
time, they
entire
were
time.
tripping,
Right.
and that was like one of the best, like, on film representations of being in like a mushroom trip or an
Right.
acid trip that I've ever seen.
Right.
Like I almost felt like I was tripping.
I mean, I don't know from experience or
Well,
anything,
yeah.
but like it
I do.
seemed pretty.
I do. It
accurate.
felt like that movie is 100%.
He's like,
100% that movie is a mushroom trip. And
Yeah.
it felt like that. And like
it's a bad one. Like,
anytime Danny was on drugs, all the trees were like swirling and moving. Like if you just watch the background.
No, it was
anytime.
It was tripping me out the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
And then whenever they had all the roses and she had her crown on, it was like breathing.
that one flower. It was just like,
pulsating.
And all the, like, the food
When I was
on the
driving
table
home-
was like
Yeah.
moving.
When I
and
was
shit.
driving home, I was like,
anytime she was tripping, like the foreground was tripping,
right.
and it was kind of made you feel like you were in
Yeah.
her headspace, which was really cool.
It made me feel crazy.
Yeah. And that kind of correlates back, like I said, to Wizard of Oz because that movie is like straight up an acid trip
Right.
movie, and this movie is more of a mushroom trip movie, but there's definitely some influence there. Can't tell me otherwise.
What else you got, Mike? Mike, you tired?
Yeah, I'm old, so yeah. I don't know if anybody else. I know, like when they.
So, what was the most shocking part to you? Just one scene.
Man, honestly, for some reason, what got to me the most was when they show her sister at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that scene, I was just like, that's some dark ass shit. Like the gore didn't really fuck with me that much.
Right.
Like, I mean, like it was surprising when that old lady bounced. Like for some reason, that was like, oh my god, that was fucking brutal. But like, just for some reason, they just show her at the computer with the fucking hose from the car taped to her face. I was like,
oh yeah,
this is real fucked up.
Yeah.
that was pretty shocking.
I think it was kind of cool, like the way they showed her parents at the beginning, and you just think they're asleep,
Right.
Yeah.
and then the like the emails that were kind of coded. She's like, the mom and dad are coming too, and then you realize that they did
I mean, I
come
figured
with
it
her.
out
they
pretty quick.
fucking
I was
died
like-
with
I was
her.
like-
They
I
all
was like,
died.
oh, man, she
You're like,
fucking
oh,
killed
they're
them and
not
then
sleeping.
killed
They're
herself.
dead. Oh my god, it's so intense.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I didn't
pretty dark.
expect like it was just that was really just that's when I was just like this is gonna be a fucked up movie and I love it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was going to say, when they're driving in, and the way they film that, the way like the camera like is in front of the car, and then it pans over, and then it pans back, that really messed my head up for some reason.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of the movie. I was
You know what
like,
that's like? Sorry, being in a tornado,
really?
like the Wizard of Oz.
I
Damn.
think that's what they were going for.
I'm just saying. There. It's there. It's there. Sorry, I keep,
It's funny that it's like a fairy tale though. Like in every step of the movie in its sections, it's like we have the girl and the love interest, and they're like entering this whole new world, and they're looking for like the end of the at the end of the tunnel. They're just like, this is gonna make us happier,
right.
and it did. It's like it's just that, like at the very end, whenever like everyone's dead and they're
made
burning
her
all the
happier,
bodies,
yeah.
she's just like,
Well, she finally accepted it, and like
right,
she found
her family,
a family. Yeah.
yeah,
Her home. She's the fucking princess of that.
right. Well, I'm scared.
Something that we had kind of talked about before filming this was like I thought it was kind of strange how like in the trailers they really made the boyfriend Christian seem like, or They made Danny seem like she was just this shitty, crazy bitch of a girlfriend. And then, in my opinion, in the movie, it was Christian who was the shitty person in the relationship.
I mean, he was slacking, but also, like I was saying earlier, like he also didn't even expect her to come. He was like,
Yeah.
it seemed like a homie trip.
Yeah,
True,
right, yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And then, and then it's like, well, we don't mind. And then he's like,
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as hell, though, when he was just like, yeah, she's here. Oh, also, she's coming with us.
Well, no, he says like several times, I invite her, but she's not coming.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And it was like clearly obvious that she was coming.
yeah.
Like,
and then he was like, right, when she was at the door, by the way, you guys have to tell her that she's not coming.
Yeah. And they were like, you've been planning on breaking up with her for weeks or whatever.
Right.
But the only thing that staved that off was her family dying horrifically.
Oh, my God. Dark.
But like that's the weird thing. Like, if she wouldn't have gone, if her family wouldn't have died and she wouldn't have gone, like those guys still would have went with their friend, and they still would have been sacrificed as
Yeah.
part of the 9 sacrifices. Like
Right. So who would have been queen?
probably some other girl would be May Queen, I guess. One of the girls that live there.
I wonder also
I don't
if
know.
the friend that was like his idea for them to come, I wonder, because he gets like real obsessed with the idea of her coming like almost immediately. And I wonder
Yeah.
if that was kind of he wanted it to
Yeah.
be that way and
It
out that
seemed like
way
that.
or what, you know?
It seemed like that.
What if it wasn't a murder-suicide? What if he killed her sister and parents to get her to come?
I thought that.
Whoa.
I wonder about that.
I haven't even thought about that,
That
yet.
was like weird shit that happened in Hereditary. Like, like it, like
all
they had
orchestrated.
Some
so
weird
much
like
shit.
culty shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I was
part of the
wondering that
plan.
myself.
For the greater good. That's a different movie, but
Well, now that we figured it out, I mean,
Oh, I had another
go ahead.
one curiosity about the movie. When after he bangs that redhead and he bolts out of that room and he runs into the barn where he finds, what was that guy's name?
the English dude,
Yeah.
and he's like splayed up.
Yeah.
Dude,
Were
that
those
was a
his-
blood eagle. That was straight up a blood eagle.
Were those his lungs?
Yeah, that's what a blood eagle is.
Holy fuck,
So,
that was so badass.
like the Vikings would do this thing called a blood eagle. They would strap you up, right? They would cut your ribs from your back. They would rip your back open, cut your ribs out, and then pull your lungs out and like set them on your shoulder. And it's called a blood eagle.
That's weird.
so,
Yeah.
but
And if you don't make a sound when it's happening, like if you don't scream or whatever, then you get to still go to Valhalla. But if you don't, then you go to, I don't know, wherever.
wherever they go,
Yeah.
it's bad.
That was in the show
Detroit.
Vikings. That was actually in the show Vikings. That's the only reason I know that. And that show's awesome.
But what I was trying to figure out, was he still breathing?
yeah, he was.
Because they
I
were
think he was still
inflating and
alive.
deflating.
Yeah, it seemed like he was still
I
alive.
think he was still alive.
That was pretty awesome.
But yeah, that's called a blood eagle. Straight up, 100%. I forgot about that till just now. Thank you.
Because that was another one of those scenes I was like, whoa. For some reason, it made me immediately think of one of my personal favorites, the scene from Event Horizon when they have Jason Isaacs' character splayed out.
Yeah. Dude, that movie.
Event Horizon's awesome.
Yes.
Go see Event Horizon. If there's one thing in today's talk that I'm going to take away is, oh yeah, Event Horizon is awesome.
Event Horizon is tight. It actually really is. It's fucking like scary as shit.
Yeah,
Love that movie.
it was shocking. It was also shocking in a '90s blockbuster kind of way,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
At the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time, remember whenever like there were blockbuster horror movies with like A-list actors and stuff?
Oh yeah.
I feel like now that doesn't. Remember when there was like End of Days, like with Arnold? It's like straight up Arnold horror
Yeah.
movie. Or Denzel Fallen.
Yep.
Fallen.
That's like a A-lister
That's a
think of
good
some other
horror
point.
ones.
movie.
Yeah. That was very 90s. It was very 90s.
Yeah, it was
like,
very 90s. It was like,
Yeah, and like in this movie, speaking of going on like A-listers, there was like almost pretty much. There's only 2 people in that whole movie that I had ever even heard of or seen in another
I didn't know
flick.
anybody from that movie.
Chidi from The Good Place.
All right,
Oh
fine.
my god!
I'll watch The Good Place.
You can have your Good Place episode by yourself. Good
I don't
grief.
even like it enough to have a Good Place episode.
Well,
I
then
just thought
shut
it
the
was, I
fuck
just thought
up
it was
about
good.
it, okay?
Yeah, I just thought it was good.
God.
It wasn't better than Event Horizon.
Well,
though,
not a lot of things are.
in a 90s way.
In a 90s horror way.
But like, there was like only 2 people I'd ever heard of, and I was just like, I've never heard of any of these other people. But like, I
Yeah.
guess he had like with
Yeah.
Hereditary, there was more like, it had a little more star power, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Toni Collette for one.
Yeah,
like-
Gabriel Byrne, and then
Yeah. but there wasn't much after that, really.
no,
Not A-list, at least.
definitely not.
But I liked it. I like the fact that you don't really know who these people are
Yeah.
because it makes you like feel like you're more in the story.
I mean, the way everything was shot made me feel like that's why I think it was so shocking to me is because I felt like I was part of the action the whole time. And
Yeah.
it was just like, it's like I'm nervous
You're like experiencing
Because they're
stuff through
nervous.
them. Yeah.
because then you're like, what the, like whenever for instance, like whenever you're like you do something and you're all by yourself and you do something embarrassing and it's so embarrassing that you like look around like. I'm all by myself, that was so dumb that I'm
still
still
feel shame.
embarrassed. That's the way I felt watching this movie. It's like it felt like it didn't feel like I was in a theater. It felt like I was just like, ugh, what? And then and as the movie progressed, it was like, okay, these people seem nice, and then you're like, wait, why did that lady just say that once she reached a certain age, she would die?
72?
Yeah.
72 was
And then they started, and then there was like 2 obvious older people that they were like all celebrating with, and then I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen.
I kept seeing so many other old people though. I was
Yeah.
just like, these can't be the only ones.
And then
But they only do it every 90 years.
oh, okay.
once
And
the
there's only 9 people that get sacrificed. That's not 9. I don't know why I did that.
9 people get sacrificed.
That's better.
so
Oh,
yeah.
That's from now on.
So,
9.
I
What the
I
fuck's
just
wrong
felt
with him?
as nervous as everyone else in the movie. So
Yeah,
I was
it actually. I have real bad anxiety. So, and there was points where I was just like in my chair, like I may have to get up and pace while I watch this, like a crazy person.
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? You're just like asking people around you, tell me what's gonna happen, or I'm gonna freak out. Have you seen this?
I need my blankie.
Like actually, when the black dude that was doing his thesis on that
Chidi.
place, when it whatever, who cares? I'm gonna slap the shit
He's
out
in
of
the
you.
show with a good place.
Have you heard of it? I don't know if you heard the show. It's called The Good Place. He's in it.
Mike,
You should
nobody
probably watch
fucking
it.
cares about the good place.
Oh man,
Yeah, I know that was
Doesn't
harsh.
it have Ted
not like
Danza
somebody's
in there
gotta
or some
tell you the
shit?
it's not like I wrote it, dude. Jeez.
Isn't
Anyway.
like Ted Danza in that movie?
Yeah,
And Kristen Bell.
yeah, and that guy from
she's actually really fun.
Midsummer.
Mitsu.
And that guy from It's Over.
Yeah,
But
Never heard of it.
when he was in there taking pictures of the book, I was just like anxious that whole time. Like this motherfucker's dead. Somebody's gonna come kill this
Oh,
dude.
yeah, he's dead.
Any second now. I know he's dead.
And it happened.
Yep. Yep.
all right. I think there's gonna be. I'm gonna edit this one a little bit. I'm just gonna cut out some of the dull parts. I feel like there was some empty space because
Okay.
Mikey looked tired,
Say so.
and I'm tired too. And then
Tired?
what? What Rabbit?
Tired?
You helmed the episode. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Thank you for noticing a lot about that.
I was just really into it. Like,
Yeah. Now you make me really want to watch it again now. 'Cause,
have
like, there's so
to,
much
yeah.
stuff that I'm like, Man, I didn't catch any of that shit.
Dude, I'm
Like
telling
I
you,
said, I was just like, what is happening?
there's
Oh
some
my
cool
God.
there's some cool ass shit in that movie.
All right, go watch it.
That's why I liked it. so
Definitely go watch it.
Uh,
If you liked the Hereditary, the fuck's wrong with me? Hereditary or The Witch, which is another one I would highly suggest.
much. Yeah.
okay,
Go
Mike.
see it.
Mike, do the thing where you're like, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and then do it in wrestler voice.
You just did it.
What? Why would I? Yeah, you did most of it.
No, do it again in wrestler voice.
I don't have a wrestler voice.
If you like this video, press the like button and subscribe. Tell a friend.
Yeah, you got it. Like, comment, and subscribe.